far separate from the parking lot for soccer or lacrosse for over 50 cars on the south side of the new playground, completely separate. There's going to be some more fencing installed of the timber rail type. They completed the chain link, I think about a week ago there. There's going to be some cement curbing put in to help direct people over to, I call it Lacrosse Road or Oakview driveway. There are things that are in the works being done. If you notice, if you had been down there, the men took down a very large clump of red maple, swamp maple on the entrance on the right side, removed the trees and removed the stump so that we could pull that driveway to the right so that you have a straight entry going into that parking lot. Instead of going in and veering up when it was paved 20 years ago, they went in and they paved kind of towards the left as you go in. I don't know how that happened. I wasn't here, wasn't involved with it then. But we're working on correcting that roadway. It's not all wetlands. There is a pocket, it's Stubby Brook, that starts up above there and goes down through there. And we're aware of that. And there are corrections that are still going to be done to take care of that. At the cul-de-sac, actually, Mr. Quadier owns the first piece. He has a diagonal line, goes across the end of the driveway. However, that apron is going to be cut, and that is going to be widened out on what would be the right side if you're entering as part of it. And you'll see along that right side where more gravel will be put down and asphalt will be widened out there with time. So we are working. The town engineer was in my office this morning, and we talked about the new curbing, some more additional fencing, some plantings and things that need to be done there. So you people, thank you for coming, but you and Mr. Pisano have never come to ask me or the town engineer what we're doing.
You ought to ask Park and Rec too, Jim, so they can somehow review this.
Don't worry, Park and Rec will.
You ought to explain to everybody here and ask them to go around the room and see if they.
I think I have the floor. I think I spoke. What I did, I came back in after you made your assaults on me. Those are personal attacks, and I have the right to defend myself, Tom.
Have a ball. That's the way you operate, Jim.
No, it doesn't seem to be. I know.
Attack Dee Dee, attack me, go ahead.
No.
These people.
We're not attacking at all.
They don't operate the way you do.
Tom, enough. We're working to make that a community space for all. Huh? What was the comment?
One person's working to do that.
Really? I think Mr. Britton is the second.
Yeah.
Dan Lynch is the third.
I saw his work.
Well, I got it. But anyhow, so there is much being done down there, and it's a community property. It's not one person's property. It's not one person's event. The sad part of what all this is causing is something that nobody ever thinks of. There is no contractual agreement with soccer, with lacrosse, or with Orange Little League with the town of Orange. There is no contractual agreement with any of the three. And unfortunately, with time, because of a litigious society and a lot that goes on beyond that, there may have to be in the future. But it was interesting in going through the many papers, reams and reams of paper on the development of Wolf Park. There is a letter in there to Tom where the board gave permission to seed the grass and all down there, which Orange Soccer, I guess, did. Wonderful. However, Mr. Souza closes that letter out with saying that this may not always be used for soccer. And so even back then, it wasn't specific to just soccer.
Go ahead and terminate, Jim. That's the answer.
Do what?
Terminate soccer.
I never said.
I hope everybody's listening.
I never said that.
That's where you're going. Just stop.
No, that's not what I said, Tom.
Of course you are.
No,
Don't threaten people.
I don't think so. Here's Sousa's letter. I don't think so, Tom.
Yes, you do.
I don't think so. I think that, unfortunately, you have created a monster that I don't think you intended. The space down there is for the entire community, not just soccer, not just lacrosse, not just the dog walkers, not just the people that are out on those paths and stuff through there. There's a lot of things. But we've heard about this report over and over and over. Part of the reason that report doesn't work is the ring road that was laid out on that report doesn't work. The exit at to Peck Lane and Pine Tree Drive by way of the Army Corps of Engineers didn't work. It's not Jim Zioli's fault. Jim Zioli had nothing to do with it. I didn't hire the engineers. I didn't do the engineering report. But it will be a space for everybody. And that's the intent of that space. The new driveway that's being built that goes out to Oakview is 32 feet wide. It's actually what is needed to go in and out of there, not a little bit of a narrow path. I didn't build it. That was back in 99, 2000. So those are all things that people keep hearing that just aren't so. That's all I can say on it. Yes, Kevin.
So I think we're getting a little bit off track, but I just
I'm
wanted to
done.
kind of bring us central. What we have, in my mind, is the ability to really do something tremendous with this property that would be a shining example to a lot of the towns around us that have not taken a long-term view. The town of Orange, whenever it buys open space, which I agree with, takes the long-term view. Why don't we take the long-term view here? We're getting $500,000 or more from the state. We have the opportunity to do a lot of different things with that money. We can put the playground in, we could put tennis courts in, pickleball, etc., if we're allowed to use all of the town's property. Second, there are 40 spots at the most in this parking lot. You have two entrances here, paved, an entrance and an exit only. You should at least have that at Fred Wolf Park. That's been open for 22 years. The first year, when I was coaching, there wasn't enough space. Now, I know that parking lot's been expanded, but the program has expanded as well. And the third point I just want to make is that this does serve the town because literally thousands of kids have played soccer for this town and have fed travel teams, the junior high, the high school teams, etc. It is a shining example of what volunteerism can do. Just like our volunteer fire department, nobody would ever cast aspersions on them. They donate their time, their effort, their lives at times to do the work that the town needs, and it saves the town a lot of money. Now, this costs the town up. That's it. The kids do not have a large fee to pay every year, and the turnout is unbelievable. So I would recommend that the board looks at this as they do with most open purchases of land, or purchase of open land, to take a very long-term view and say, what is best for the town 10 years from now? Because if you do the right things now, you will have that for 10 or 20 years instead of this continuing issue where we're now in phase 6, where we're still not meeting what, in my mind, should have been met 22 years ago.
I agree. Thank you for your thoughts. If some things had been done differently back after they bought it, there probably would have been some differences.
Right.
Even the regulations as far as getting through some wetlands and questionable areas were different 20-plus years ago than they are today. That's why that other driveway is being built. However, it's being built, the reason it's taken a little bit longer, last year we didn't generate as much milling and subsurface material from the other town road projects. This year there's quite a bit. They're starting in May. That will be excavated out, and then that goes in first for base. They were putting in about a foot deep in there as they head towards Oakview. And what isn't done by the road jobs will be completed by a third party because that has to be completed and open and functioning before the playground can be open and functioning.
But I would just like
So,
to say
it will
again, I don't think that we should be looking at this on a short-term basis or on a small expansion, putting the playground next to a parking lot where there's egress of cars, where, God forbid, something happens. And I can tell you a story. When I first started with children in this town, that's when the wood castle went up, that Tom had a big hand. And I had a toddler and a 5-year-old. My biggest concern was not that my 5-year-old was going to get hurt on the climbing parts, because I would go with him and I would bang my knees in my head and he'd be fine. It was my toddler who might see somebody in the parking lot that's a friend and run out. I think that you need to look at this in an even more developed way in terms of the safety, but also the traffic issues. You can take care of the parking issues right here on Soccer Sundays by moving everything. So you can take care of both parking problems at one time using the money from the state and then a small allocation from the town to take care of all the problems associated with the land now, and develop it for future use so that 10 years from now, as I said, you might have a total sports complex with 4 or 5 sports being played, plus a playground, all in the same place with a safe park.
I thank you for your thoughts, and I welcome you to my office anytime, and I will be glad to explain more to it, what the committee has studied, what the town has studied, and where we are with it.
I'll take you up on that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yep, just give a call over or shoot an email and let me know when.
Great.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Mitchell,
Ready for me?
we're ready. Go ahead.
Okay, I've got 2 things to report on. The first is the results of our Shredding and Has Waste Day on April 2nd. It was a successful day. The weather held up. We pulled in 9,600 pounds of paper for shredding. It was down. Yeah, the whole day was down somewhat. I think we may have reached the apex of the shredding, but it still filled the truck pretty much. So it was still a very successful day with that. The Rotary raised, I think, $1,700 in scholarship funds that day. The Lions Club helped out with the mattresses, and we pulled in 33 mattresses that were recycled. The Orange Community Women were successful in bringing in a lot of clothing and games and toys and other household items for their purposes that were then sold to savers and got money for that.
I wondered what they did with that.
And then the Has Waste. Not as much as we first thought, still pretty significant. There were 169 vehicles that came through. 139 of them were from Orange. According to Lori at the Regional Water Authority, who's on our Zoom call discussing this, said that it was lower than our expectations. However, for a first time, was not bad, and also felt that it would not break our bank. We were concerned about how much it was going to cost us, and she said we will obviously see a blip because we'll certainly got more than we would just going to New Haven, but felt very good about it. The people from Has Waste said everything went very smoothly. I was there the whole time. Everything went very smoothly. I do want to thank publicly not only the Rotary and the Lions and Orange Community Women and also the Orange Recycling Committee, but I also want to shout out to Bob Britton and Don Foyer for their help making sure that Has Waste worked as smoothly as it did, getting the dumpsters in place, the signage in place, and making sure everything went well, and it really did. And I think after we get a budget that's passed this year, I'd like to come back to the board and try to do this on a yearly basis, the Has Waste. Lori?
Did they get anything that was like super toxic, like somebody have DDT in their
I don't know.
garage or something?
I didn't get any specific reports. It was all, people brought stuff from like a single fluorescent light bulb to to one paint can to a whole truckload of stuff. But like I say, it went smooth. It went quicker than we expected. So it was a really good day, and I appreciate on behalf of the Recycling Committee and the citizens of Orange this board approving going forward with our first ever Has Waste Day. It went really well, so thank you.
Good.
Second reason I want to speak under public participation, I do want to speak on behalf of the Bicentennial Committee for a second. And Jim, I'm here to present to you the very first Orange Bicentennial flag.
Oh,
You want to hold this up?
Holy moly.
Show everyone this will be,
So is it
turn
one
it
side?
that way.
Other way? Oh.
Everybody can see, these will be flying all over town very shortly.
Wow.
And,
What size is that? It's like
3 by
5?
3 by 5.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And it's, we'll have them on poles, we've got plans for them, and Ann's got them all for sale, $40 each, see Ann. But, very excited about everything's going on at the bicentennial, and those literally arrived this evening. So you get the very first one.
Mitchell is running quite a store up there in the.
Ann's running, I'm just doing the orders, Ann's running the store.
I knew when we were putting that committee together, Mitch has a special desire for novelties. And I think he has almost everything from the Orange 150. And, except for one thing, which I have, and it sits behind my chair up there. But I knew when we were putting the committee together where his expertise would play in. So thank you, Mitch, for that.
Thank you.
We'll put it up.
Put that
Excellent.
up and we'll be selling more, and hopefully we'll
Excellent.
fly them all over town. Be great for a celebration
Excellent.
this year. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Anybody else? If not, minutes. To consider and act upon the minutes of the March 9th. Oh, I got a few, don't I? No, I'll do them after. The March 9th regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen. If there are any errors, omissions, or corrections, if so, state page and paragraph. If not, is there a motion to be made on them?
Motion to approve, second. Oh, my God. Ditto.
Is that a race? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, new business. To consider and act on request to approve the contracts for funding of services at Silverbrook Estates. Sue Morrow is here, who is the administrator. Her company works on behalf of the town of Orange to run our wonderful Silverbrook apartment complex down there. Hi, Sue.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
This is a standard event that we
Yes.
do. Did everybody review Sue's submissions, her budget, and the food service contract, the rent roll? Rent roll,
One error.
So-
I wrote 3 years, it's a 5-year food service contract.
okay.
Yes, it's a
Sue, would you
5-year.
like to enlighten the board on these?
Yeah, this year I don't have as many contracts as usual to sign because we're in the middle of 2-year contracts, but I did have the one 5-year food service contract with Glendale Food Services. Everyone there at Silverbrook, if you're a resident, gets 1 meal a day, and it's a state statute that is part of living there, and it's part of the program at Silverbrook Estates. So,
Okay, any problems that we need to know about? We have increased our budget. I know we've picked up more things down there as the building.
yes, of
Needs
course.
service.
Absolutely. I have increased the budget, but a new thing this year is the state looked back on the congregate worksheet, which is how we derive the rent roll every year, and that's how we get the budget. And I can say 80% of the residents' rent will go down this year. I'm asking for, it was, last year the most you could pay was $5,080 a month, and that's based on income. Some people pay nothing to live there. Some people have to pay the $1,580 because of their income. This year it's going up to $1,634 a month. And that's because we were told electricity and all the utilities will probably go up at least 11%. So
Yeah.
that's how we went with that.
Oil started to come down, and then it's going back up again, so,
Right.
fortunately. Questions for Sue? If not, take these one at a time to, do we have to approve, we don't have to approve your budget, or does the state require that?
Yeah, the state requires it by
Okay.
signing off on the rent roll. You're actually approving the whole budget.
Okay,
And then a separate contract with Glendale Food Services.
okay. So we need to
Sue,
approve.
More, sorry, Jim. Sue, more for information for people out there than what's specifically in front of us.
Sure.
I imagine you're still 100% occupied? Or close there?
We did lose a few, one person this year,
Okay.
last couple of months, and another person has decided to stay in a rehab in Milford.
Okay.
So
And so you have a long waiting list, or
I
is it?
do. I
Yeah.
have 83 people. I'm
83,
on
okay.
number 56.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to get there, and then I have to do it all over again. People have one time to say no to me, and the second time, if they say no, then they are no longer on the list.
Right. Thank you for that information.
Sure.
Jim, I'm sorry, what is the proper motion here
So you
then?
need to approve the A.
Congregate
and
administrative budgets?
Yeah, and that will tie to C. By
Okay.
approving A, also approves rent roll C, correct?
That's
Is that what
right.
you said? So
Okay.
we need a motion to approve A and a motion to approve B,
All right.
and C goes on its own with A.
All right, so I'll make a motion to approve the congregate administrative budgets for Silverbrook Estates. This is a 1 year, Sue, for this
Yeah.
part of it? For 1 year,
This is with the state.
with the state. Thank you. Motion made.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous. And by doing that, that takes care of item C.
Gotcha.
So now we need a motion for item B, which is a 5-year contract, not 3.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve a 5-year food service contract with Glendale Senior Dining Incorporated.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous. They do a great job down there. The unfortunate part is, you heard Sue say that there's 83 people on a waiting list, whether individuals or a couple. And sometimes people wait too long to get on that list because it moves very slowly, and it's overseen by a state program, I think, as far as that lottery.
That's
You can't,
right.
like, put your cousin or aunt or uncle in there, move the sideways, because the state does monitor it also. So, that's it.
That's
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, to consider and act on the bid for painting the gym at High Plains Community Center. Mr. Britton went out to bid for this, and it's kind of amazing as you read that memo, the difference from the low bid of $8,700 to a high bid of $34,600 to, this is to paint the gymnasium at High Plains Community Center from floor to ceiling, 4 walls. It's in dire need, and hopefully they won't use duct tape on it afterwards. Bob, do you want to come up and explain, or you want us to go with your recommendation as presented here?
Yeah, this one should be pretty straightforward. Low bidder, and we think they're going to do a good job, so.
You checked on them, all the background and everything?
Yeah, they got
Yeah.
good reviews. I mean, obviously, most contractors, when they provide references, they provide good ones. But they also did work for the town, and we were happy with that, so it's.
They already did previous work.
They did the library trim painting last summer.
Oh,
Company.
okay. All right, with that made, any questions for Mr. Brinton regarding the painting of the gymnasium at High Plains? Mitchell?
One question, one comment. The question is, are we painting it the exact same colors
No.
and scheme? Are we changing that?
The colors are going to be a lot lighter, but they're going to stay with, there's like a.
The
darker-
two-tone?
Yeah.
Okay, but different colors?
Did they
Okay.
go with blue or something, light blue and a medium blue or something
I
finally?
call them, it's like a tan.
With the,
maybe a-
with the tan and the tan, yeah.
But with
lighter.
almost a reddish tint to it, because you've got the burgundy curtains still.
Yeah,
But like the dark color is much lighter than the current dark
Okay.
color.
yeah, it should brighten that room up.
Great.
The floor is in the future
That's
also.
next.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
floor has to be,
Yep.
that's been a,
And I guess the comment is, as the overseer of that facility, I'll put it that way, how do we ensure that the walls are used for nothing more than what walls are intended for, not for, like, I think the camp put bus routes up there and the tape never came down. You know, you need to use, like, you need
Yeah.
duct tape or masking. It's got to, if they're going to tape things to the wall, it's got to be, either scotch or painter's tape.
or
Thank you,
something, yeah.
painter's tape, something like that, because, honestly, it was a real shame to watch those walls get really ruined. And so when you have a nice event in there, to see what it looked like was a shame. So I'm just asking, once it's repainted and everything's done, that we try to make sure that whoever is utilizing the the facility, take better care of it.
Yeah, I know they're planning summer camp now, so we'll talk to Park and Rec to try to pass it down.
Or
Not
use
to use
some other
duct
way
tape.
to adhere things to the wall that doesn't
Yeah.
leave residue.
Well, they'll send out a memo to those departments on it, and whoever, who's in charge of renting.
Yeah, so sometimes the seniors use it, although I doubt they're putting up posters.
Yeah, no.
Elections uses it. Not sure if they do it, but probably the.
Elections does use it, but uses different, tape that just peels right off. So
Yeah.
there's no problem. I mean, it all comes down to, I'm not saying you can't put anything on the walls,
Yeah,
but it's got to be put on
is-
something with the tape that will pull off without pulling off the paint and without leaving residue.
Yeah.
No argument.
Thank you.
The election people usually use that light masking tape. I don't think that's been a problem. Okay, all in favor? I thought you did.
We got there. I asked the question first. But I'll make a motion that we approve New Haven Painters LLC for the High Plains Community Center gym wall painting at $8,700.
All right. All right, motion made and seconded. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous. Okay,
Thank you.
all right. The next one is to consider an act on request to purchase furniture for the library with grant money that has been received. This one, Kathy can explain it further, but the reason that this has to go before us is because it's some of those federal ARPA funds, grant funds, and we do approve the uses of these funds so that there's a paper trail. And all this was separate funds that were put out by the government. They had so many different allocations of government funds for all these different things. And so when I heard this one, I said to John, our finance director, is this from the ARPA funds that we got? And he says, no, they had separate ARPA funds for libraries. So Kathy received some, so she put a request in for this. And I think it was approved by the Board of Finance a while ago. I'll leave it at that. And then this money came available. So, Director.
Okay, I did get several quotes, 3 quotes. W.E. Mason said that we should go with the other state contract price that we did receive. Staples is not under state contract, but they came out higher. Just one footnote, it's 6 pieces, not 5 pieces, but still it comes out less. Robert Lord comes out less than the rest of them. Okay? We picked out fabric and we made sure that the fabric is the type of fabric that we can clean with something wet in case we want to get rid of germs and things like that. It won't be affected.
You said Robert Lord is less. Is that because it's 7 pieces for Robert Lord, 6 pieces for Staples, so on the breakdown, that it's less?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I did negotiate to get one more piece from them too as well. So instead of 6 pieces like we had with Staples, I was able to get one more piece for a little more. And the $54, we're going to take it out of either our gift account or our regular budget. It's not going to be a hardship.
Yeah, that won't break the bank.
Yeah. Okay?
Okay. Any questions for Kathy? Mitch?
Make a motion to approve Robert H. Lord Company for $16,812 of ARPA funds and the overage paid by the library gift to grant funds for 7 pieces for the library. I'm just making that motion say that I'm pretty sure, Kathy, that Robert Lord also provided most of the original furniture in that building, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably.
Because I remember that from being with the building committee with that, when the furniture coming in. So definitely a company that specializes in quality furniture for libraries. So I think, yeah.
And it also meets the same aesthetics that we have currently in the library, so it's not going to look like a sore thumb in there. Okay?
Okay. Motion.
you.
Motion made. Motion seconded. Any other discussion? Seeing none? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous. Very good. Let's see. To consider an act on request to authorize the first selectman on behalf of the Board of Selectmen to execute the grant. This is for the funding from the state. It's in front of you there. Item number 4, we need to do this one for the steep grants. Any questions? All in favor? Motion made.
So moved.
Seconded? Seconded by Mr. Shanley. Got to give him 1 minute. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. To consider an act on request to approve tax refunds totaling $27,254.55. And this is the right number, you added it up. So, okay, motion made.
Second.
No, we don't have the motion. Motion made. Is there a second? Is there a second? Okay. All in favor? Okay. Let's see, announcements. I have just a few here I'll do. I didn't do them then. In the last couple of weeks, we lost a couple of the really strong members of the community. Walter Besputa, a couple of weeks ago, passed away in his home where he was, on the farm where he was born, and it's pretty unusual in this day and age, did an awful lot for the community. And Beatrice Tarenti passed away this week. She was a visiting nurse and ended up being the director of the OVNA for 15 years, or thereabouts. Both dedicated members of our community, and our thoughts are with both of those families. Happy Easter, and Passover and town offices will be closed on Friday, April 15th, in observance of the Good Friday holiday, but the transfer station will be open. Thursday, April 12th, 2022, or April 21st, rather. 0.23%, and patients currently hospitalized with COVID-19 for the entire state is 126. It's up 9 for the past week. So for the state of Connecticut, I remember when that number was way over 1,000 hospitalized around the state. So currently, there's 126 hospitalized around the entire state with the varied COVIDs. And I do remember, but I think it printed on the second sheet, 33% of the positives were people that were not fully vaccinated. They may have gotten 1 test, 2 tests. Some have got, I had a couple relatives have gotten all 3 tests, or shots rather, and still tested, mother, daughter tested positive for it. So it's still possible that you get it even if you have all the tests. Anyhow, so that's the announcements there. Pension Board, Mitch, committee.
The pension board meets next month, so there's no report this month.
Okay. There will be one executive session. I do want to go into executive session just to update you on where we were. The discussion was on a potential land purchase for a future firehouse for the town of Orange. So at this time, make a motion to go into executive session with a few-minute break in between so that everybody can leave the room. Thank you. Yeah. You know what? Give one so PJ and John. Here, Ralph, this is so you and Mitch can look at what I'm talking about, just so you understand.
Excuse me, Jim, sorry to interrupt. The TriCaster is currently malfunctioning and we just had it fail on us, so we do have to reboot it and ask to pause the meeting. Chris just called me.
Well, we're going into executive session right now,
That works
so
out.
you're going to have some time.
Okay, that works out. Thank you.
Okay. Well, we'll come out and just say goodbye.
Also, the 2 weeks that the surgery just to talk to him.
Okay. Okay, well, we're almost done here. We're on? Okay, thank you, gentlemen. We are on. Okay, we had discussion. There is no action to be taken. With that said, the meeting is concluded. Is there a motion to adjourn at 8:12? It looks like the glare is right with me. 8:14. Motion made, adjourned. Thank you. That's it.